So we have found the solution for water. We get these 5-gallon jugs at Lowe's and they refill it for us for a price, whatever. Anyway, and then they have this. There's a tube that goes inside and then it comes up in here to the pump the water out. We have one here in the kitchen and then we have one in the bathroom as well. And that one that we can use for brushing the teeth, washing our hands, drinking water, whatever in the bathroom. And then we have this one here where we can, you know, wash dishes, cook with, drink water, etc. Easy access, just like that. And if I need some hot water, I just can put some right in my kettle.
You make friends all along the way, to break bread on another day. Always there to give you advice, help you find the wrong from the right. Even when you're not in their sight, you'll be alright. Just look at the big wide world we're living in. Yeah, just keep running until you discover it. Yeah, you'll be amazed at how far we can go. So what are we waiting for? I know I've got
Hi, how are you? As you can see, we've still got our EcoFlow solar generator in a box. Michael has decided he wants to get another shed delivered and then we can set it up as the equipment room, so to speak. So we're gonna hold off until we can get the shed and get shelving set up for that. So in the meantime, it has completely taken over my dinette. While Michael is gone, I'm just doing dishes and cleaning up from breakfast. I'm doing a deep cleaning today. We're hoping to leave tomorrow, so I want to make sure I get all the food cleaned up so we don't attract any more animals. Since water is kind of a luxury for us right now until we can get rain collection set up, which hopefully will be this winter. We're going to get it kit up. That way when it starts raining next spring, we'll be able to get all the water we need for the year. But in the meantime, because we've been drinking, you know, hot drinks or put them in the fridge to cool, we got these cool things. And we just picked them up on Amazon, but they're reusable ice cubes. That way if we have company, we have ice. I got 2 of these off of Amazon. And the problem with using old-fashioned ice is, number one, with this particular freezer, you have to wait literally like 24 hours for it to get cold enough. It's a Dometic freezer that came with the camper. And so anyway, then you fill these up with water, precious water that we have to, you know, buy and carry in for now. Then if we don't use it, it's just wasted, you know what I mean? Or it goes into the dishwater. So, any rate, and then when you stack it to make room, they kind of stick together. So, you know, you've got to really pry at it in order to get it out. We don't have a working faucet. We don't have water yet, as I just already mentioned. So we put water in here, in this tub here, and then I will wash all my dishes and use a little bit of soap to get it washed up. And then I go dump this into one of my plants, one of my flower pots. And I bought the perennial kind, so they pretty much, if they start to die out with the water, lack of water while we're gone, they usually rejuvenate really well when I get home and rewater them. So, at any rate, so that's what I do. And I've also read that using a little touch of dish soap in your water will help the soil prevent it from being hydrophobic, so to speak. So sometimes you get that soil that doesn't want to absorb the water. So you put a little dish soap in it. And this is really nice. I got this at Bed Bath & Beyond. I use it to keep the bugs out of my water. And because we do keep the door open quite a bit for the dogs to come and go in and out. And then I chop my vegetables here, put the waste in here. And then at the end of my cooking, I have my compost tub. And so basically I just pick this out and put it right in there. And that works great for our situation here. And then I don't have to worry about food getting down in the drain or in the sink for the non-existent disposal, possibly clogging up the lines before we even have a chance to use them. So that's our system on how we do the dishes with no water off-grid. This winter we're going to get the rainwater collection system set up with the whole, have water in the camper and have a drainage system for the gray water, since we figured out the issue for the toilet and the black water. We can just recycle the gray water. When it comes out of the camper, I'm going to have a filtration system so that we can recycle the gray water as well to use for plants, and have some sort of like irrigation system set up. So that's the plans for way down the line, future videos, possibly this winter, couple months at least. And in the meantime, let's talk about what we're doing for our black water. So let's talk about number 1 and number 2. As you know, if you've been following along, we do not have running water in our camper. We don't have a well yet. It is on the list of things to do, but we are in the process of saving up money so that we can get a well, get a septic, and get a house all at the same time. So in the meantime, we're making do with doing an off-grid situation so that we're not making any permanent fixtures into the land until we're ready to build. With that being said, how are we doing number 1 and number 2? Well, we've been doing it in a bucket. There's a lot of videos out there about composting buckets. We went to Walmart and spent about $20 on a toilet seat. Before, this was our toilet. Just a 5-gallon bucket with a toilet seat on it. Right now it's got bricks in it because we were using it to mix up some concrete. We would do our business in here. Then we would take this and essentially just sprinkle it right in there. So first we were using the cedar shavings to cover up the human waste. But cedar takes a long time to break down, and I was really concerned about, you know, using it. But we had already bought it, and so we just used what we had. And then when it was time to buy a second batch of the shavings, I decided to go with the pine because the pine will break down a little bit easier. So let's just pretend this is a full bucket, and we're just getting ready to change it. So basically, we would take the lid off, and then we would have, it would be filled with pine, and then I would throw my compost food scraps in there. And then move. Go on. And then we would carry it to the pickup truck, drive it up the hill to our compost bin, and dump it in. The problem with not using the in-camper toilet is you have 2 toilets in the bathroom and it makes for limited space. So this morning, Michael, the dear that he is, took the existing toilet out of the camper that was installed when we got it. We're putting it in the shed, and then that way if we decide to sell a camper or get the water set up from our house and have the camper hooked into the septic system, later on down the line, then we can reinstall. But I just want to have a nice private bathroom. I don't think that's too much to ask for. We had company over one time, and it was all fine and dandy when it was just us. But as soon as we had company over, I was a little bit embarrassed. And that people commented about it smelling like a hamster cage. I don't want the bathroom to be a memorable experience to my company. And I want them to look forward to coming back. If I go to their place, I'm gonna have to pee in a bucket. I didn't want that. Michael and I, we were looking at the composting toilets, but they're like $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500. And quite honestly, I did not want to spend that much money on a toilet that was going in a camper that was just a temporary usage, until I'd much rather put that money into saving it for the payoff of the land or building of our house that we're going to have eventually. So we decided to go with a porta potty style that we can still use for composting, and I'll show you how we're doing that. This is the Bedford Porta Potty 365. We got it for about $200 at Camping Supply, I believe it was. At any rate, a little bit of luxury, a little bit of comfort. So this is basically your toilet. You have an indicator that tells you if your waste side is getting full. This here is the flush. I'll show you on the real toilet here in a minute. It holds the top, the clean water. This is where the clean water holding tank, it holds 4 gallons. The dirty water holding tank holds 5.5 gallons. It's got an actual toilet seat and all that stuff. And then it's got a little pump to allow water to go into the bowl. So basically you have the 2 separate parts, and they are separatable so that you can refill and empty. And then you can actually put chemicals. They make chemicals to go in it, but since we're going to be using a composting toilet, use it for composting, we just put apple cider vinegar in to kind of help with the breakdown of the waste products, and also to help with the cleansing. And we got a little bit of the apple cider. They have different chemicals for the top and the bottom, but I don't really care about those right now. And then, but they have 2 different water holding tanks. And then you have the little pump to allow for the water to go through. And then this is for the flush. It has a little floor on the bottom. And then you can, it has a handle you can carry. So when you go to dump it, you have a place to carry it. And the dump hose has a cap on it so that it won't slosh out while you're carrying it. And then you can just supposedly easily just dump it. And then you can actually attach it to the floor, so if you make it into a moving vehicle, it won't slide. Now here's what we've got so far. We're going to build it up a little bit. Michael thinks it's a little bit too short for his comfort. So Michael is like 6 feet tall. This height for me right here is perfect for me. I'm only 5 foot. But with him, he has to squat a little bit lower when he has to use the bathroom. So he wanted to build it up a little bit to make it at least more match what the the existing toilet was in here that we just took out this morning. So we got some paint and we got some screws and everything. So we're gonna make this a nice little setup here. And then that way we can have some semblance of a bathroom where we can actually go in and shut the door and, you know, all that good stuff. So here's the throne box. We have limited tools, so Michael did the best he could. He kind of messed up on the length of the cut, and it's bowed out because the box kind of is not a perfect square. The toilet's not a perfect square, but it'll be just sitting on the floor. And just so you can have an idea of what it is, this is how we did it. Very basic construction. And now we're just waiting for the paint to dry so that we can put a second coat on and then stick it out there. So let's talk about the toilet. So we have, this is where the clean water goes. And then this pumps right here, and it actually, you know, makes it go. And then we have, let's see if I can get farther enough away. You have the flush. And then it just goes, it's a little trap door at the bottom. And when it just opens up and allows it to fall in. And this is liftable, so you can clean it easier, get a better clean on it. And this is where the clean water comes out and swashes around and goes in. And when we get ready to leave, we will empty it out. That way when we come back, we have a fresh, clean toilet to deal with. And we have not had any issue with odors as of yet. We don't plan to, you know, leave it overturned in a dirty toilet to allow bacteria to grow or whatever. So anyway, so what my plan is, because I still do want to compost the human manure, so to speak, because we were doing it in the bucket, and then I have a compost bin up top where I just go pour it, and when it gets full, I'll close the lid and just not touch it for a year or two and let it do its breakdown thing. And we have been trying to think of a way to help with the breakdown. And so we've decided, after doing some research, apple cider vinegar will help with the breakdown. And it also acts as a deterrent from any wild animals that might be coming. So we put the apple cider vinegar in the wastewater to help with the breakdown of the waste. And then when we get ready to pour it into the compost at the top of the hill, then what we will do is that will help to deter any animals from coming in. Because we do put our we throw out our, you know, leftover vegetables, and anything that I buy grocery wise, I put in the compost. So that will help break it down also, and it will help to keep this clean. We use the apple cider vinegar. It's not the kind with the mothers, it's just the regular, it's the filtered, and that way there's no residue left over. That's the goal, at least for now. We'll see how it works out, and as it progresses, we'll keep you updated. And here is the final setup. Not too shabby for a porta potty throne. And that's it. Until next time, toodles y'all.